Welcome to New Life Live, the premier place to receive free advice from Christian psychologists and counselors for the mental, emotional, relational, and spiritual challenges you face. Since 1988, we've offered compassionate responses that combine God's truth with proven psychological principles to guide you toward healing. Our phone lines are open. Call us now at 1-800-229-3000.
Hey, thank you so much for joining us today on New Life Live. I'm your host, Brian Perez, and today we have licensed marriage and family therapist Marc Cameron with us. How you doing, Marc?
Hello, I'm doing well.
Great. And also licensed professional clinical counselor Becky Brown. How are you doing, Becky?
Hello, Brian and Marc. I'm doing really well.
Wonderful. What's on your mind as we start our program today, Becky?
I have habits on my mind. Actually,
Habits.
I was thinking about the habits that we use to construct our life, whether it's knowingly or unknowingly. I read a statistic that said anxiety and worry affects more than 40 million adults in America, 18 years and older. And of course, you know, the impact of media in all of its forms, not just social, we make social the bad guy, but it's really all forms of media. It keeps us focused, distracted away from what we're really thinking and feeling. And so our unconscious and our conscious thought processes are impacted by what we read, even if it's like a 10-second reel that we take in on some social media forums. Not that I ever do that, but I do. And, you know, also I think about the things that we worship and we evangelize. When you think about, when I say worship, I'm not talking about Jesus, which we do, I do, and I go to church and I practice that, but we worship a lot of things during the week. It could be something we eat, something we watch. We evangelize things like, oh, did you watch that show or did you go to that movie? We're telling people about these things. And our habits move us towards our life. It's really the, you know, kind of the current. And so I just want to say, or I want to ask you, what habits do you have that are growing your faith, that are creating the life that God has for you? And so when we think about our faith, you know, we'll usually talk about, you know, things that grow our faith. They're like prayer, reading God's word every day or on a regular basis, doing study of the word, serving in a local community, local church, being part of that connection. But it's interesting because you're actually changing neural pathways with these habits, whether good or bad. Jesus was actually ahead of the game, as usual, when he said, do not worry about tomorrow, because he's talking about those neural pathways that are being created when we worry. He didn't want us to get into that place where everything's on fire, the sky is falling, and we're all going to die. It really is important for you to pay attention to what you're doing. Whatever habits you have for worry or anxiety, begin to identify them. Just acknowledge, I'm worried about X, Y, and Z. I'm focused on the things that I can't control, which would be anxiety. Also, be aware of your spiritual practices. You know, we love Jesus and we'll go to church on the weekend and we won't think about him, talk about him, read about him throughout the week. And then we wonder why we don't grow in our faith. You know, when you think about minding your thoughts, minding your business, it is your practice. So I want you to pay attention to what you're thinking about. Change your mind in a way that reflects what God has for you. Do an audit of your thoughts. We're getting ready to do an audit here. And, you know, just pay attention. Where are my thoughts going? What is coming in? How am I practicing my faith? And I just want you to think, these are the 4 areas: spiritual, physical, mental, and emotional. Just take an audit. What habits do you have and where is it leading your life? If you need help, of course, we can direct you. Our Take Your Life Back course would be great, or even get the book. And that's what's on my mind today.
That's wonderful. The Take Your Life Back book is available on the newlife.com store, and the Take Your Life Back course that Becky mentioned begins next week on April 7th. You can get all the details at newlife.com or by calling us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Okay, we're going to get to the phones as soon as we come back here on New Life Live. We've got Michael, Caroline, Lisa, Deena, Chester. We're going to start with Sandy. We'll get to as many of you as we can here on New Life Live. Thanks for listening and thanks for watching.
My
My husband and I just found out that my son is having sex with his girlfriend. He's 18.
I was addicted to pornography since high school.
We did some research and discovered that men ages 18 to 25 were being challenged with their sexual integrity, and we wanted to provide a way for them to get some help. And they were interested in a 12-week course, Every Young Man's Battle, helping men deal with sexual integrity. And if you are of that age group, or if you know somebody in that age group, a man who maybe porn has gotten a hold of their life, maybe multiple sexual partners, whatever the struggle is, we want to help them in these early years.
Join a shame-free community beginning April 7th to help you become the man of integrity you aspire to be. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
And here is Sandy, who's listening to us in Dallas, Texas on KWRD. Sandy is a Club New Life member. Hey there, Sandy. Thank you so much for supporting us here at New Life, and thanks for calling in today.
Oh, thank you so much for taking my call. Y'all are such a blessing, and I am a monthly contributor, and I'm hoping everybody who's hearing my voice will do the same. I mean, I can't do much, but I do it monthly, and it's just a blessing to be able to give back.
Thank you, Sandy, for doing the commercial for me. That is awesome. I just love it when you guys do that. But yes, you heard it right from Sandy, that it's a great thing to support New Life Ministries. Sandy does. I do. I know a lot of people do. But thank you so much for doing that. And so how can we help you today?
Well, I'm calling about my son. He's in his early 20s, and he lives with his disabled dad, who's legally blind because of his diabetes, home dialysis, lost part of his foot. Very negative atmosphere, though. But anyway, he's been recently, in the last few months, having panic attacks and anxiety attacks. At first, he thought he was having a heart attack. We called 911, but all his vitals were fine. Took him to the doctor, blood work, CT scan, everything's fine. But he keeps having them to the point now where he doesn't even want to drive, which is hard because that's part of his job. He's been off work because he got ran over by his truck while he was working on it, his arm and everything, so which I guess exacerbated the anxiety. He's told me he's got Asperger's or borderline. So my question is, I don't know if that's part of it. I tried to see if he will go to counseling. He won't. I've tried to get him to move in with me like I said, his dad is a very negative person, doesn't have any other friend in the world, and depends on my son. And now he doesn't even want to drive. He can't cross a bridge. He can't go on an overpass. And he takes his dad to appointments, and so it's like affecting his whole life. And I got him. They, prescribed some medication for him. The doctor, like when he's having a panic, but he won't use it.
Yeah.
And I don't know what to do.
Okay.
My mother's heart wants to save him, and I just don't know what to do.
Sandy, did something happen right before he started experiencing these panic attacks? Was there some kind of incident that occurred?
Well, I think being run over by it's a big monster truck with those big pipes. He uses it for parts. He just bought it for parts, but he was moving it and it didn't go into gear, and when he went under it, it skimmed his face, ran over his arm.
Oh my goodness.
At the hospital.
Wow.
But nothing was broken. It was a miracle. I was praying and stuff. I pray over my kids but ever since then, but he told me that he's had them periodically through his life, and I didn't know this. But he used to do car shows and ride a motorcycle, and he's had a couple accidents on that, but nothing horrible. But now it's just all the time. And he doesn't, he won't see a counselor. And I don't know what else to do. I've taken him to the doctor. I'm not sure what I can do.
And what's his reasoning that he doesn't want to see a counselor, he doesn't want to take the medication? Because you've taken him to the doctor, that's how he got prescribed the medication, but what's the reason why he doesn't want to take it or want to see a counselor?
Well, he says that'll make his anxiety worse. It's like he'll say something like, "Oh, I think my iron's low," and I'm like, "Well, you've got the results of your blood. Go look at it. Everything seems." He goes, "No, I'm afraid to look at it. It'll put me in a panic attack. If he thinks he's like something's wrong with him, he'll have a panic." I'm like, "Nothing's wrong, sweetie. We went to the doctor. We had the blood work. We did, the CT scan. Your heart's fine." Because he thought something was wrong with his heart.
Yeah. No, it's
he's never really been like this before.
Yeah.
Ever.
Well, it sounds like he's giving you some information here that he has had the panic attacks before. So you didn't know that he was having some of these thoughts and feelings, but he was. But now they've been exacerbated by this accident that he had. Now, the brain works by association. It links things together. So even though he was under the car and maybe he wasn't driving the car, something happened with the car and he feels anxiety around a car. So now even getting into a car, even though he's sitting in the car, the brain has linked car to anxiety that he already had going on. And so the brain makes these connections and it sends the body into that fight or flight, and the sympathetic nervous system just kind of ramps up, and that's why it feels like you're having a heart attack, because it's really hard to get breath in and breathe. Now, you're giving him a lot of this logic. A lot of times fears are irrational, and so you're just giving him logic and saying, "Hey, we've been to the doctor, they said nothing's wrong." But that part of the brain that is reacting from him in that moment is actually disconnected during those periods from the logical side of the brain. So even though we give people logic and reasoning and we think, you just think it through, it's not. That's the language reasoning part of the brain. This is an emotional reaction, and so you really need to learn how to speak the language of emotion to that side of the brain. Things like just recognizing what is going on, helping put words to the language helps link those two things together. It sounds like you're feeling anxious, giving empathy and validation statements. That makes sense. I'm so sorry that's happening. When you do that, you can create a connection with someone else that can help that sympathetic nervous system that is ramped up start to reduce and calm down and get them back into what we call the parasympathetic nervous system, where they are breathing in a regulated fashion. Once you do that, then you can start to speak more logic over to them. Go ahead,
Well,
Becky.
I was thinking along with what you're talking about, Mark. So the way that might look, Sandy, is that you, instead of waiting until he's at that crisis point, you make a habit, which I just talked about, that you guys go for a walk on a regular basis, where you're talking about his strengths and, I'm so proud of you for what you're doing. Because obviously up until this point, he's done a lot. He's got a lot of drive in him, no pun intended. Mm-hmm. But, just the breathing and the walking, when you walk and talk, your brain is connecting, just like what Mark is talking about. But if he is feeling the defense, it's because the world is coming at him. And because the panic attacks have already been occurring, they build on themselves. There's been a roadmap in his brain. And so the way to get out of that is to make new pathways that don't, trigger that. But here's the thing. I think it would be really powerful in those walking times to talk about, what do you want to do next in your life? What are you thinking about? Because right now you're just telling him, let's go back to what you were doing before, but help him understand there's a whole life in front of him and you're part of it. And I also would encourage you, maybe if you go to the therapist and invite him to go with you, that you can partner with him in that, because it can be overwhelming for someone who's dealing with panic attacks. It's scary and they can't think that it's going to be okay, but maybe if you make that connection, that would be a great next step. I just think that's a good way forward. One thing about the Asperger's is it's very well known that they're in defense mode, what's called defense mode. The world is coming at them. They see, they hear all the sounds, all the sights, all at once. And so they're trying to get through those experiences without being overwhelmed. And that could also be adding to that anxiety, but you're going to have help. And he may not be open to it initially, but eventually it's going to make a huge difference in his care.
Yeah, sometimes
should I get a man counselor?
If you think he's going to connect better with that person, sometimes there's a fear that if I talk about it, I'll experience the symptoms,
Yes.
and so that's why he doesn't want to do that. So maybe you can see if someone can get
Actually,
you.
he did say that. He did say that. If I talk about it, I'm going to get a panic.
There you go. So I
That's
was
right.
right here. So
And he's actually not wrong though, too, Sandy. That's
Yeah.
the thing about when people have panic attacks. It's like we try to create this distance, but it can't happen because it's within you and you're feeling it. So it's like, I can't talk about it because if I talk about it, it's going to happen. But I love that he's got that insight. That's a really good
So
sign.
I would say, see if you can find a counselor. Maybe they'll be willing to have a phone call that you can be on the phone with them, to try and make it safe. Because when we have these irrational fears, you really need something called exposure therapy, where it's systematic
Yes.
desensitization, little bits at a time. So trying to get him introduced to somebody, and maybe you're there and the conversation is brief, and then he'll start to feel more comfortable maybe with that person. Just a thought.
And we can help her get connected.
Yeah.
Do we want to send her How We Love? What are you thinking from the New Life store?
I'm thinking Take Your Life Back, but
Okay. Take Your Life Back is fine too. We'll send you that copy of that book, Sandy. And don't forget the Take Your Life Back course that begins in just a few days, next week, in fact, it's online. It doesn't begin anywhere. It begins in your home. It's a 12-week course with 9 people or less, and you can get all the details about it at newlife.com or by calling 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Here is Chester calling us from WAVA in Bowie, Maryland. Welcome to the program, Chester.
How you doing, Mark and Becky?
Good, Chester.
Hi, Chester.
Thanks for calling.
Yeah, I had just one question. I have comments, but I think the question is more important than the comment, and I will take my response over the air.
Okay.
My question is, what is the difference between a therapist and a counselor? Thank you for allowing me to share that point. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so is there a difference? Are they synonyms or what? What do you guys say?
They can be
They're
synonyms.
synonyms,
Go ahead,
yeah.
Becky. You go.
They can be cinnamons too, and synonyms and all the
Love
things.
cinnamons.
Yes, cinnamon
Yeah,
rolls.
me too. I think the difference comes where we talk about specific licensure and different training. So therapist, counselor can be interchangeable, but there's also psychologists, social workers, marriage and family therapists, mental health therapists. So it really depends on what their focus is. But Chester, I'm kind of curious of why the difference matters to you. I would love to know where the question is coming from.
I'm saying it because it seemed, like you said, it seemed to be a synonym between each of them. But I mean, how are they different? That's probably how are the difference? Not what is the difference? Maybe the how is the how. How are they different from one another?
Now, Chester, is this because you're thinking of going to one and you're wondering which one to choose, or you're just curious?
Just from my man Benjamin, he came in there and was talking about, like he wanted a female and a male. So, I mean, even though we're different, but what makes it one better than the other? Nobody's better than the other. We know that. So how are they both? How do we get to this confusion? That's what I want to say. He wanted a female opposed to a male. So I'll leave that alone. I won't say anything else on that. I'll do my research the other way.
Well, usually with someone's called a therapist, usually they have a license behind their name. That's typically more of a clinical term, where many people can be a counselor. There's many people who call themselves counselors. There's lay counselors in the church, and they may not have any formal training, or they may have gone through a training course in the church. But typically somebody who is labeled a therapist, that's more of a clinical term, and they have a licensure behind their name. But again, as Becky's saying, some states differ in the words that they use. And so it may depend on the state that you're in or the person who you're looking up to see, do they have any initials maybe behind their name, and research what do those initials mean?
And the other part is, too, we teach people this all the time, Chester, that we are all different as human beings and our training, and it just depends on what you are seeking help for and the connection or the rapport that you build with the helper, whatever their license, whatever their training, and even if they're a lay counselor. The way we connect with people is really powerful, and sometimes we don't connect with people. Doesn't mean that they're not a good therapist or a counselor. It just might not be a good fit for you, and it's all worth exploring because we deserve good help.
Chester, thank you for calling in today on New Life Live. Brian Perez here with licensed marriage and family therapist Marc Cameron and licensed professional clinical counselor Becky Brown.
That's right.
Or counselor,
That's right.
as Marc Cameron says it with his cool accent. We'll be back with more of your calls here on New Life Live.
Restore gave me strength. It gave me more belief in my faith. I met up with a group of women that are going through things that they had no control over.
If you've been affected by betrayal, an emotional or physical affair, or pornography, the Restore Intensive will equip you with support and tools to help you through.
When two people want to do their part, we can be restored. But if they don't, we can still be restored. We are not stuck because someone else made a decision. That God lets us weigh in on how we want to walk out our lives. Our wellness does not hinge on another person's decision.
The Restore Intensive is coming to Dallas, Texas, May 2nd through the 4th. Register online at newlife.com or call 1-800-NEW-LIFE and use the discount code NLL to save $50.
I had a great experience at Restore.
1-800-NEW-LIFE and the discount code NLL.
I was sort of vaguely familiar that the 12 steps had some origination in the Bible. I found Life Recovery, and one of the things I liked so much was that it had such a broad appeal. It wasn't limited to just alcohol or drugs, that it was addressing a wide range of problems.
At New Life, we believe everyone can benefit from a life recovery experience. There are life recovery groups all over the country. They take place online, in conference calls, and in person. And if there isn't one in your area, we can help you start one. We have startup materials, leaders' guides, CDs, Bibles, and more, all with discounts available for groups. Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE and ask for Terry Ward. The 12 steps have long been a great help to people in recovery because much of the 12 steps' power comes from the fact that they capture principles clearly revealed in the Bible.
The 12 steps is really a pattern for all of us as Christians.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
The Intimacy and Marriage Weekend is where couples experience serious breakthroughs and growth. After learning information as a group on topics like attachment styles, challenges to sexual intimacy, effects of family of origin and trauma on your intimacy, and more, you'll apply the information in therapist-led process groups. Here's what one attendee told us: I was completely shut down and had lost all hope for our marriage. Our patterns owned us. We couldn't break the cycle, but the Intimacy and Marriage Weekend has redeemed us. I now have hope for my marriage. I love that last part. So the next Intimacy and Marriage Weekend Intensive is happening July 25th in Washington, D.C. Get all the details at newlife.com or by calling 1-800-NEW-LIFE. To the phones we go. Here is Deena in Dallas, listening or perhaps watching us online. How you doing, Deena? How can we help you today?
Hi, I'm well. How are you all?
We're doing well.
Good. I have a bit of a challenging question to ask.
I was going to say, you do sound kind of troubled. Thank you for calling today.
Yeah. I guess my question is how to engage in Christian spaces that are unsure of how to detect or advise on domestic violence within your marital relationship. I've been told to stay, do counseling, pray. While those things have been explored, it's almost as if I've been advised to stay without safety.
Oh my goodness.
Being concerned.
Can you tell us a little bit about the abuse, Deena? Are you willing to do that?
It's okay.
Is it
You don't have to.
physical abuse or emotional?
Yeah.
Both?
Okay. Yeah.
So sorry that's happening for you, Deena. Yeah, it sounds like there's some, your antenna is up here. There's some red flags going off for you because you're living this. You're living something really hard, something damaging emotionally, physically to you. And somebody from the outside is just saying, well, just maybe pray through it or stay with it because it's not biblical to leave. I'm wondering, is that what the message is?
That has been the message. I think the message is more so maybe you haven't prayed enough. Maybe you haven't fasted enough. Maybe you haven't done, or maybe you've done something.
That's so hard. Well,
Deena, do you have anybody else that knows about this besides those that you asked in the church?
Yes.
And do they agree with what the church has said, or are they giving you an alternative option?
I think that the people who really know the situation, they are trying to be as supportive as they can. I think one of the things, and this is why it's really hard, this person is amazing. They are very intelligent. They're brilliant. However, at home, there's a different life lived. And so it's been really hard to navigate and for people to kind of see outside of that.
It's hard for them to believe it because they see your husband in a certain way. Let me tell you this, Deena. Healthy things grow. Healthy marriages grow, and you can't grow in a storm. And so you know what is happening to you. And I just want to let you know that abuse is wrong. Abuse is destructive. Abuse is damaging. And that's not what Jesus wants for us. And that's not healthy for us. And so what we'd like to do is connect you with a counselor so that you can have an objective third party who maybe doesn't know your husband and know who he is or how he is on the outside, but you can feel safe enough to share what is actually going on, the details of it, and have that person help direct you, because there are resources out there. But it sounds like internally inside you're knowing that this, it's too hard to stay in the situation that you're in, and the advice that you're being given, most likely those folks wouldn't stay if it was happening to them.
So my question, Deena, to you though, would you be open to connecting with a counselor, or does that feel threatening to you?
No, I'm absolutely aligned. I work in the mental health field.
Great.
So, yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll connect you, but I was thinking about, I wanted to send you a book. It's called The Emotionally Destructive Relationship, but I don't know if would that be okay for you to get that at your house? These are the things that we're aware of when we work with women in situations
and maybe we
like
can
yours,
mail it
Deena.
to a friend. If you have a safe friend who can give us that address, we can mail it to the friend and get that book to you.
Okay.
So think about it. Talk to the call screener.
Yeah, we hear you, Deena, and we want you to be safe. And a counselor will be able to get you the resources for women's help in your area. If you're listening to Deena's call and you're in a situation like this, know that there are agencies all across the country to help women in situations. We don't want you to feel alone. We want to help you get connected to the help that you need. A counselor can be the first step, and we don't want to wait too long. We're so grateful that you called, Deena. We'll be praying for this situation, and we believe that there's hope.
Yes, indeed we do. Deena, stay on the phone and we'll get to more calls in just a little bit when we come back on New Life Live.
Hello, everybody. It's Becky Brown, and I just want to encourage you to be part of our spring match. It's like planting seeds in the lives of so many people. Every gift that you give to the match will be doubled up until $500,000. Isn't that amazing to think about all the lives that God can touch through your generosity and through this matching gift campaign? I know you want to be part of this match, and you can do that by calling 1-800-NEW-LIFE. You can go to newlife.com/donate. You can also text the word match to 28950. I can't wait to see what God's going to do through your generosity. It will make a difference in the lives of so many people. Thank you in advance. To give to the match, text the word match to 28950, or you can go online at newlife.com, or you can always call us 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Club New Life changes lives.
I think I go way back to listening to New Life, learning so much from it, and then becoming a Club New Life member.
Club New Life is a monthly giving family that helps New Life Ministries provide Christ-centered hope and counseling resources to thousands of people.
You know, I'm so thankful because you know why I keep giving? Because I keep learning, and I'm so thankful for all the lives that you touch every day and the people's lives. So when I get to still hear the radio show, it's just so encouraging to my heart.
When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, you'll make a difference in the lives of individuals and families with godly counsel and connection to help.
And you know one reason I give? Because I feel like sometimes I'm hiding behind a counselor's couch listening to all this great information and not paying, so my guilt of this great advice is alleviated by being a Club New Life member.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. And together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
And back to the phones. Let us talk to Caroline in Citrus Springs, Florida, listening to us on Sirius XM channel 131. And we've got other calls too. So if you're on hold right now, don't hang up. Stay on hold, and we'll talk to you in just a little bit. So Caroline, how can we help you today?
I have a question about if I am in a setting where, like a Bible study, I have no problem with being comfortable and sharing. But when I get in a social situation, like a baby shower or a luncheon with the Bible study ladies or whatever, I get incredibly anxious. Anxious sometimes to the point of not wanting to go after I've gotten the food ready and gotten everything done, and I just go, nope.
I'm right there with you.
How long has this been happening?
I'm the same way.
How long has this been happening, Caroline?
A long time.
Okay, so earlier on I told another caller that the brain works by association.
Right.
And oftentimes it's in the subconscious here. So there's something in to do with that kind of scenario that your brain is flagging a trigger to. A trigger is a reminder of something that happened to us in the past, something that was unpleasant. And so your brain is being reminded of a trigger, and it's starting to shut your body down to resist going and even leaving the house. If you were to think about it here, maybe just for a moment, what do you think that reminder could be of for you in your past history?
I have tried to figure this out, and I like I said, I am not shy, typically. I am willing to speak out in Bible studies. I will engage with people. I can do real well on one-on-one or one-on-two, but if it gets to be more than that, I just get anxious.
Have you ever done therapy before, Caroline?
Not in this particular area. I've done quite a bit of therapy for my marriage and for other things, but not in this particular area. And the reason it's come up again is I just went to a potluck with my Bible study ladies, and it's like I sit there and don't even know what to say. I'm just...
You're flooded.
Here's my recommendation is a therapy called eye movement desensitization reprocessing. EMDR is what it's known for short. And it's designed for exactly this type of thing, to help you connect what's happening with your mind and your body and your thoughts and your beliefs. And so I would suggest doing that, because there's different techniques in there to help you learn how to remember and learn how to calm your body down and learn how to change your belief for yourself. So if you've done therapy before and maybe it's not really been for this particular thing, I would start there and see what comes out of that, because I think it can be very helpful for you.
Well, and Caroline, the reason why you can't come up with it is for the reason why you need that help. That's what Mark's talking about. Your brain is locked in that this is a reality for you, but it's not. It just is, the brain is telling you, don't talk, don't go there. It's all locked down. So the EMDR will help. I also think that you just described two distinct kind of gatherings. When you're with your Bible study group one-on-one or one-on-two, it's a controlled setting. There's not going to be like this unknown that might occur. Even though it's the same people in a potluck, there's a lot of energy that's going in lots of different directions. And so it can be overwhelming. And that's where your brain gets flooded and you get frozen. And I agree with Mark's suggestion. EMDR therapy would be very helpful to unlock that pattern.
That makes a lot of sense, because to me it's weird to be willing to engage in a controlled setting, like discussing a Bible study, and then not be able to engage when it's social. So it makes a lot of sense.
It is weird, and because you're thinking about it primarily from the logical side of your brain, and but it's an emotional reaction, and those two things are not connected in those moments. So. Yeah. What would be a good resource, you think, Becky?
I was thinking about how people grow, just because it goes into just, that developmental and just understanding those different ways that we experience life. And I love, Caroline, that you are willing to do whatever it is that needs to unlock this, because it's great to connect with our Bible study friends and beyond.
Absolutely. And like I said, it's as simple as going to a baby shower or anything that's social. And it's not that I feel threatened, because I know the people. I just shut down.
Yeah.
So, okay, I will try the EMDR.
We'll get you connected with a therapist, and we'll send you that book.
Yes, stay on the phone and we will do that. And that reminds me, a lot of the books that we mentioned here on newlife.com are on sale right now, up to 75% off. It's our spring cleaning sale. It ends tomorrow. Don't miss out on these great deals on New Life resources. We've got lots of holidays coming up. Easter is just a couple of weeks away. Mother's Day, Father's Day, graduation. Go to the newlife.com spring cleaning sale. There's a Bible there that might make a great gift for your mom for Mother's Day next month. Again, newlife.com. The sale ends tomorrow, Friday. So check that out online. And let's now talk to Lisa, who is in Dallas, Texas, listening to us online. Hi there, Lisa. How can we help you?
Well, I'm in a dilemma in a relationship.
Okay.
And need guidance. I've been a widow for 8 years. 3 years ago, a friend of mine lost his wife, and I reached out to help and started talking to him about, going through it and everything, because I went through it. And let me back up. The 5 years I was a widow, I only had one date, and I really wasn't interested in getting married again. And I was happy in my life being single. And then after I started seeing my old friend, we started off as friends, and he made it clear to me he didn't want to get married either. But then, being with each other and dating and everything, our friendship grew into a love. We fell in love. And June will be 3 years we've been together. And there's a problem with him getting married. His 2 sons aren't in favor of it. And he told me that unless his sons are on board, he wouldn't marry me. But we get along together, and I don't know if I should continue in this relationship. I do want to be married now that I've been with him, and everything's been going good except the relation with his family. And I just don't know what to do. I've been praying about it for God's will, and sometimes things take longer, and I don't know if God's going to be working in his son's life or what.
Why?
And I just get frustrated.
Why are they against it, Lisa?
Well, they're saying they're okay the way they are. I guess they really miss their mom.
How old are the
I
sons?
think finances are part of it too. We're both senior citizens. I'm sorry, I should have.
No,
said
how
that
old are
at
the
beginning.
sons?
They're in their midlife.
Okay, so they're not young kids at home.
No, they're not. They're adults, and their dad does a lot for them, and he lets them live their life. But for some reason, they don't even want to meet me, and it's kind of difficult.
Yeah,
Lisa, are they local? Like they live there?
Well, maybe they're each an hour away.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think you get a couple of different questions here. I think you probably need to address this part of the relationship before it goes forward, because it's your relationship with this man is isolated from the reality of his life. And I wouldn't say, make the decision to cut it off yet, because you don't really know what it would be like to have the whole family together. And I don't know about do you have adult children as well?
No, I never had any children of my own. I have, I call them bonus children.
I love that. Okay.
And
what do they think
they're
about
fine
this?
With it.
Okay.
Yeah,
they're fine with it.
I've seen these situations before, Lisa. Sometimes the kids are jealous, and for them it seems like their dad or their parent is replacing the mom or the dad, whoever the person is who's gone for them. And sometimes
that's what they're saying. They don't want anybody to replace her and everything. And I wouldn't be replacing her. I would be his second wife.
You wouldn't. And sometimes it's about finances. It's what happens to
and
our inheritance here.
I would be willing to sign a prenup agreement or whatever it takes.
There you go.
But they seem to think there's ways of getting around that. I don't know. It's just, and he's a good person. He don't want to hurt them, and wants to keep a good relationship with them. And I don't want to come between them, and it's just a dilemma. I'm not sure what to do.
Well, go ahead, Becky.
I was just going to say, we're going to a break, and we'll come back with some options for you, Lisa. I'm sorry that you're going through it.
Yeah, for sure. Lisa, stay on hold. We'll talk to you when we come back from the break here on New Life Live. If you've just joined us, we are here every day, Monday through Friday, and we take phone calls from you, our listeners. So if you're going through something in your life like right now and you'd like to talk about it, we're here for you here at New Life Live.
We all face days where life throws us a curveball and our routines or plans get disrupted. Things we wanted to do are forced to take a backseat to the unexpected demands of the day. If you normally listen to New Life Live on a radio station, well, you might not be able to that day. And on these hectic days when you're feeling stressed or frazzled, hearing the sound of counsel given on New Life Live is just what you need to navigate the unexpected things of life.
Every time I'm troubled or I have a problem, I'll cut on New Life, and there's always something that is said that is helpful to me.
By listening, I have learned more than I can ever express about how God wants me to live.
Download the New Life app for the easiest way to listen wherever you are and at a time that's convenient for you, or watch the show on our YouTube channel. You can even subscribe to our podcast from your favorite podcast provider. You never have to miss a day of New Life. Wherever you are, we are. For over 35 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
Your ministry has saved my life.
If you struggle with emotional hurt, family or marriage problems, the pit of depression, or the pain of addiction, we can help.
I'm down 100 pounds now from what I was.
I found a counselor through New Life Ministries, and it's just been outstanding.
Our treatment programs provide clinically appropriate solutions from licensed professionals, all in a biblical framework.
I have had problems with alcohol. I think God has ordained this place to be His.
You don't have to be a prisoner of your pain. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
She tells me that I'm a new man, and I feel like a new man.
It worked for me, and
it can work for them too.
This time it is different.
If you're ready to take the first steps toward genuine spiritual and emotional healing, call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. God can open the door for a better tomorrow.
To get someone that's competent, that's good at what they do, it's been like day and night compared to what I've had before.
Call 1-800-639-5433. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
And back to Lisa in Dallas, Texas. Thank you so much for calling in, and thanks for holding through the break, Lisa. So what advice would we give to her?
Yeah, so Lisa, here's what I would say to you here. I mean, that what you're saying is that they're fearful that you may replace their mom, and they're fearful that their inheritance or what they perceive as owed to them may be circumvented and go to you. Now, you mentioned that you're willing to sign a prenup, and there's other legal things that can be put in place here. There's trusts and things like that people cannot go around. But I think really what this comes down to is the dysfunctional family dynamics underneath this all. It's impossible to spend a lot of time with someone without attaching to them. So you really have to think about how are you going to protect your heart here. As Becky's saying, maybe you don't right away go ahead and cut things off. But I do think that you do need to establish, well, where's this relationship going from here? We spent this time together. We've been dating. Now we want to get married and your sons don't want it. What are we going to do here? Because if you continue to spend all this time together, you're just going to continue to bond closer and closer and closer. And if you do eventually get married and this person does not establish a boundary with his sons, then he's going to continue to be torn. So you're going to have to think about how are you going to protect yourself here, and you have to think about, if I'm wanting to get married and he doesn't want to get married, then I need to decide where I want to go in this relationship.
Well, he does want to get married, but without his son's approval, he won't.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He's not willing to get married. Then it's a want versus a will thing. So you have to figure that out. Is this a strongly secure person inside who can't make a decision without his son's approval, who are not young kids, by the way? I could understand someone saying, well, they still live at home, let me launch them first. But it sounds like they're midlife. They may even have their own families.
Well, and here's the other part of that, Lisa. Here's the other part of that. Let's say in a perfect world, they say, yeah, Dad, we're okay, prenup, we got it all locked down, we're ready to go ahead. The first time you guys have some issue in the family and they start showing themselves again, you're going to be going, I don't know why I did this. I knew this was going to happen because it's been happening for 3 years. People tell you who they are. And until there's a big transformation, they're going to keep showing up the same way. And what I want for you is I want for you to be fully supported. I want him to go over the mountain and through the woods to get you, as opposed to what he's doing right now, where is, I love you, except for I love my adult sons who can take care of themselves and have their own lives better. And that's harsh, I know, Lisa, but I'm fighting for you. I treasure your heart, and you already know the answer to this and the disappointment that's going to come when you say, you know what, this isn't working for me. If you're not going to fight for me, and then I don't want to be the one fighting over, and the boys won't even talk to me. I don't understand this whole thing. I think a next step would be, let's have a conversation with all four of us. Like, let's all meet together. Let's, and I'm not telling, I would lean towards cutting it off, but I want you to try every option before you walk away, just so that you cannot go away. If you choose to go away, you're not second guessing, I should have done this, I should have tried that. Because you probably have some of that going on in the relationship right now, don't you?
They don't want to meet with me.
Right. And how many times do you have that conversation with this man?
Oh, we've gone through it about quite a few times.
That's right.
We try to break up and we can't break up. But what if they refuse to want to talk with me and him?
I think you know the answer to that,
well,
Lisa.
Here's the thing, Lisa. When you say we try to break up and we can't break up, you can break up. There's an insecurity inside both of you that is drawing you back together. But he's not a secure enough person to be able to say, I can be individual. I can stand up to my kids. I can be separate from them.
That's right. That's right.
So you're going to have to make the decision. It doesn't sound like he's going to make the decision to break up with you, but you need to figure out how are you going to protect your heart. And it's going to come down to just having a clear conversation. Okay, so you're never going to marry me as long as your kids don't agree, and it doesn't look like your kids are going to agree. Okay, so we're on the same page. So now I got to figure out what I'm going to do with that information.
That's right.
And for him, it could be him losing you, and he needs to know that that's what could happen.
That's right. I want to send Lisa the Heart Handbook. It's a devotional style. It's going to help you in these days of just wondering how to go forward. I also want you to work with a therapist, Lisa. It can be very powerful in this decision making as well as in, let's say that they are agreeable to all of this. You're still going to need help. So we'll get you connected with a therapist, and we'll be praying for you.
Yes, we will. Thank you for calling in today on New Life Live. You know, when you give to New Life, your gift allows us to continue offering help to hurting people through our intensives, our counseling network, the New Life Live podcast and broadcast, Life Recovery, everything we do to offer life-changing hope and help to hurting people. When you give today, your gift will be doubled due to a $500,000 matching gift. Every gift helps, large or small. Please give generously today. You can give online at newlife.com. You can call 1-800-NEW-LIFE, or you can text the word match to 28950. So whatever you can do, we would very much appreciate it. I think we can squeeze one more phone call in. Michael in Mexico watching us on YouTube. What is your question? Quick. Michael, are you there? Did we lose Michael? I don't hear Michael. Well, Michael wanted to know what we think of Alcoholics Anonymous, who started last October. He says life recovery is more meaningful, but he still attends Alcoholics Anonymous. Should he attend both? What do you guys think?
It's a great question.
Yeah,
I think you can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Go ahead, Mark.
Well, I think attend the things that are helpful for you, as long as they're not conflicting information. Oftentimes people need more than one recovery group. And so the more recovery you can get, the quicker you can build momentum on your journey. And so most recovery groups are a 12-step program. And so they have similar steps to them. And I just think that the bigger community that you can build for people who are in a shared experience with you, the more support you have to draw upon when you have times of challenge.
Yeah, and life recovery came from Alcoholics Anonymous.
Mm-hmm.
The Oxford group that started Alcoholics Anonymous were biblically based, and then over the years it grew away from the Christian foundation that it had. The life recovery groups uses the 12 steps, integrates scripture, and so there's no question about who that higher power is in those groups. And just as Mark said, you know what? A lot of people need different groups, even if you're in one group. Like I know some of my recovery friends, we talk about different groups that we like to go to for different reasons. There's different personalities, there's different times and schedules, but whatever way you have to work the path of recovery, it is worth taking the steps. So if you have any questions about life recovery groups, we've got them all over the world. Actually, we have them all over the place, and we'd love to get you connected with life recovery group. You just call us or go to newlife.com and we'll get you connected.
Yes, indeed. Michael, I hope you heard that answer in Mexico. Thank you for calling in today. Thank you for watching us on YouTube. I think Michael is one of our new listeners, so it's great to have you here today. We are just about out of time on today's program. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for watching as well. We will be back tomorrow. Tomorrow, by the way, the last day of our spring cleaning sale at newlife.com. So many great resources there available, up to 75% off, so check that out. We will be back tomorrow with more of your phone calls. You can call in when we're here, 1-800-229-3000, or visit newlife.com/radio to find out how you can send your question in to us via an email or a voice message that you leave for us. But God bless you. Thank you so much for watching and for listening to New Life Live.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.